Hello, welcome to Eye on Africa here on France 24. I'm Yuke Itade. Here's a look at some of the stories making headlines across the continent. Nigeria readies to lay its former president, Muhammad Buhari, to rest. With funeral preparations underway, Buhari died at the age of 82 on Sunday. The world's oldest head of state, 92-year-old Cameroonian President Paul Biya, announces he'll run in this year's election. Biya, who's led the country for over 4 decades, could still be president when he's 100. Sierra Leone's Ty Island, home to one of the world's highest concentration of primates, lands a spot on UNESCO's World Heritage List. The recognition comes after decades of tireless work by conservationist Tommy Garnett, who helped save the island following years of a brutal civil war. It's great to have you with us. Let's start in Sudan, where the civil war is grinding on. Over the weekend, the army claimed to have retaken a key town in the state of North Kordofan from the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Last Thursday, the RSF launched artillery shelling on neighborhoods in Obedi city in the capital of North Kordofan, killing at least 4 people and injuring others. Meanwhile, fierce clashes are intensifying in Darfur, especially around the besieged city of El Fasher. The humanitarian toll is staggering and rising, as Olivia Bizo tells us.
On Sunday, the army and allied groups said they regained control of a strategic area in North Kordofan after what they called a fierce battle with the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Now, the RSF had claimed to capture the area just hours earlier, and this really shows just how unstable and contested the front lines in this war remain. The Sudan Doctors Network says at least 11 civilians, including 3 children, were killed in RSF attacks in the region. They called it one of the most brutal assaults since the conflict began in April 2023. Fighting has also intensified elsewhere in the country, especially in Darfur, in and around El Fasher, the last major city in the western region still held by the army. The military says it repelled an RSF offensive on Saturday, but residents reported heavy shelling, drone strikes and civilian deaths. At least 8 people died when a shelter for displaced families was hit. This war has displaced over 14 million people and killed more than 20,000. That's according to the UN, though experts warn the real toll is likely much higher. The International Criminal Court says war crimes and crimes against humanity are probably ongoing in Darfur. With access to food, water and medicine disappearing, aid agencies warn the crisis is worsening.
Next, the funeral of Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, is set to take place Tuesday. Preparations for the ceremony are underway in his hometown. Daura and the rest of the country are in mourning after Buhari died on Sunday at the age of 82 following a prolonged illness. He had been at the helm in Nigeria twice, once in the 80s as a military leader and in 2015 as a democratic elected president. He leaves behind a mixed legacy. Eliza Herbert looks back on his life now.
In 1983, Muhammadu Buhari first came to power through a military coup in Nigeria, promising to revitalise the country as a strong armed ruler. He was ousted 20 months later. But in 2015, following 3 failed election attempts, he would finally rise again, this time as a self-described converted Democrat. He made history as the first opposition candidate to defeat a sitting leader in the ballot box, unseating then-incumbent Goodluck Jonathan on a campaign to crack down on corruption and armed groups, including Boko Haram.
But I assure you that Boko Haram will soon know the strength of our collective will and the commitment to rid this nation of terror.
But despite some early military gains, the jihadist group continued to carry out deadly attacks, and the violence spread from the northeast to the northwest. His government was able to secure some small victories and arranged to free more than 100 of the 276 schoolgirls abducted by Boko Haram from the Chibok school in 2014.
We shall redouble efforts to ensure that we fulfill our pledge of bringing the remaining girls back home.
But around 80 have never returned home, and child abductions continued throughout his tenure. Buhari's first term was also mired by attacks on oil fields and Nigeria's first recession in a generation, which many blamed on his slow governance, as well as repeated hospital visits.
I couldn't recall ever being so sick since I was a young man.
Still, he went on to win re-election in 2019 and served until 2023. A Fulani Muslim from Nigeria's north, he was married twice and fathered 10 children.
Next, he's led Cameroon for over 4 decades, but President Paul Biya, now 92, is showing no signs of stopping. Biya announced he's throwing his hat in the ring for October's upcoming election, seeking his 8th term. The president took to social media to announce his candidacy, promising the best is yet to come. Human rights groups have condemned the move, arguing that it shows a necessary political transition in the country is now stalled. Our correspondent Indria Iteng has more now from Yaoundé.
After so much speculation, 92-year-old President Paul Biya has officially stated his intention to stand as a presidential candidate for his ruling CPDM party in the upcoming presidential elections scheduled to take place on the 12th of October 2025. Via his social media handles, President Paul Biya stated that he is responding to the calls of several Cameroonians who have urged him to be a candidate in the presidential elections. Now, his announcement has come to end several weeks of rumors and speculations about his candidacy. While it came as a surprise to several Cameroonians, to others, especially those of the ruling CPDM party, it did not come as a shock. Most of them think that their candidate is still very much capable to handle the affairs of the country. In his address on his X handle, formerly known as Twitter, President Paul Biya, who has been in power since 1982, reassured that he's ready to take Cameroon to higher heights. It should be noted that he declared his candidacy just a few days after he convened the Electoral College. Now, the elections governing body in Cameroon, ELECAM, has until the 21st of July to receive the files of those who are vying for the presidency in Cameroon. After the reception and examination of these files, a definite list of candidates who will be going in for the presidential polls will be made public on the 13th of August. The elections proper will hold on the 12th of October 2025.
South Africa's president has suspended the country's police minister, Shenzo Mchunu, following explosive allegations linking him to a criminal syndicate and a drug cartel. The claims surfaced during a surprise press conference by a provincial police chief last week. President Cyril Ramaphosa has launched a full commission of inquiry and appointed a temporary replacement. The minister, for his part, denies any wrongdoing. Tom Canetti reports now from Cape Town.
President Cyril Ramaphosa suspended Police Minister Shenzo Mchunu on Sunday evening during a televised address to the nation after damning allegations by the Police Commissioner for KwaZulu-Natal that alleged that the Police Minister was part of a criminal syndicate and a drug cartel, and that he disbanded a police unit investigating political killings in order to protect associates of his, allegedly. Now, Mchunu has denied all of these allegations and has welcomed Ramaphosa's decision to launch this commission of inquiry. He's the third member of Ramaphosa's cabinet to be currently under investigation for corruption. Now, the Democratic Alliance, the second largest party in the Government of National Unity, has welcomed this move by the president, but have come out and said that the timelines around the Commission of Inquiry are not urgent enough. And that is because, according to them, the reporting period will be, firstly, the findings will be reported back to Ramaphosa in 3 months and then in 6 months' time.
Now, it's just 12 square kilometers of lush rainforest, but is home to one of the world's highest concentrations of primates. Sierra Leone's Tiwai Island has now earned a coveted spot on UNESCO's World Heritage List. The recognition comes after decades of tireless work by conservationist Tommy Garnett, who's helped save the island following Sierra Leone's brutal 11-year civil war. Laura Bushtika has more.
When Tommy Garnett first set foot on Tiwai in March 2000, the island was entirely ravaged by Sierra Leone's brutal civil war. Faced with widespread destruction of biodiversity, the environmental activist decided to take matters into his own hands.
All the structures were dilapidated. The island was covered in empty rifle cartridge shells. They had started logging the trees on the island. We had come here to take pictures, and then we ended up having to go and, raise the alarm that this place was going.
This marked the start of Garnett's decades-long struggle to rehabilitate Tiwai. Backed by his NGO, the Environmental Foundation for Africa, he worked with local actors to end harmful environmental practices such as hunting and chopping wood for fuel, promising instead to reinvest the benefits generated by ecotourism into the community. Today, the island has become a haven of biodiversity, its lush forests hosting one of the world's densest populations of primates. And on Sunday, Garnett's efforts were granted much-delayed recognition as Tiwai officially became the first site in Sierra Leone to be added to the UNESCO World Heritage List.
Having a first World Heritage Site in Sierra Leone is bound to attract the kind of attention from everybody, government, civil society, private sector, education, and that also means that the lifeblood of this place will be enhanced greatly.
A crowning achievement, yet Tommy Garnett doesn't intend to rest on his laurels. At 66 years old, the activist remains determined to pursue his lifelong fight to protect biodiversity in West Africa.
Well, that's it from all of us on the Eye on Africa team. Thanks so much for your company and stay tuned. There's plenty more news coming up.